So I want to talk about how we put a project together. Okay, it's been all the way since last year since we've had a chance to actually do a project, and so it's kind of important that we kind of review those steps for what we go through and do. And so what you see on the screen there is you see, in this case, this is a proposal that I created based upon the idea of an attendance tracker for the school. Do you guys, you may remember last year me talking about us developing something like that. And it was a kind of a real world project dealing with real world stuff. And so if you look here, you see the attendance tracker starts with, hey, we've got a name for the project, and that's what you would do. You would take your project and you would actually create an online document like this that your entire team would have access to, okay? And then they can look at it, they can add pieces to it, they can take away pieces, and it becomes kind of a little living document, right? And it's just a general outline, because here's what can happen a lot of times. Let's say you're making a complex project and one person's working on the databases and one person's working on the business logic layer, the layer that does the work for, let's say it's a program to set up meetings, okay? And then the other person is doing the front end, the user end. Well, if they're all using different variables and different names and have a different idea for the product, then you're going to have a lot of trouble, because your code's not going to mesh and work together and do all that. And so, as you guys know, we do a Scrum meeting every day where you talk about the project and you talk about the pieces you're working on. And so everybody kind of knows together what's going on and who's working on what, who's struggling on what parts are done. And so you can all talk about those things and solve those problems ahead of time. Because the earlier you solve that in the software development process, the better it is, right? The better it is if we solve those problems. So up here you can see this gives a view of the, here, let me blow it up just a little bit. There we go. There's the title. Here's the problem. Currently, the school's not aware of a student absence until the student is reported absence in the first period. Then the attendance secretary is tasked with making contact with the parent or guardian to confirm the absence and the reason. Okay? So that's the problem. Okay? And so when you write a software, when you write a program, you need to boil all your discussions and everything down to, okay, this is the problem. This is the main thing we want to solve, okay? So everybody's focused on the main thing. You don't want one person on your team thinking that your project is going to do something that it's not going to do, or working on lots of little parts that are not a part of the big part. And so you want everybody focused on the main problem, the main thing. So you state it right up front, so that if somebody kind of gets off track, you can go, oh, wait a minute. This is the main topic, right? Okay, so don't worry about that. Let's focus on this right now till we solve this problem. Once this problem's solved, then we can work on all the other things that we'd like to add to it, okay? Overview. Our goal is to create an application that allows parents to alert their child's school of their absence from school and the reason. After a parent has reported their child absent, the site would send an email to the administration containing the information submitted. This application would allow the administration to quickly view how many students are absent and for what reasons. It would do this by storing the data in a database and allowing them to access it. And down below is the name of all the people that are on the team, okay? Now, one of the things you need to get in the habit of is thinking of putting your name on your work, okay? Especially if you're writing programs. You should have your name in comments in your code always. It's your work, okay? It's not somebody else's. You should be proud of what you have done, and you should make sure people know it's your code, okay? So here's the name of the team. A lot of times we'll let the team create a name, okay? We definitely want, if we have a team name, we definitely want a project name, okay? So that when we're talking about it, we're all using the same vocabulary, okay, as we discuss our project. Okay, objectives. Objectives here: create a multi-platform application, make it so that emails can be sent from the information provided with it, store input data into a database and allow it to be accessed at a later date, allow parents and administrators to log in separately. Okay, so here's just 4 simple objectives. It's got to do these 4 things or we didn't accomplish our main objective. It's got to do these 4. Then notice here's the user story. Tell me what the parent can do. That's what the user story says. And user stories is from the user's point of view, not from the software developer's point of view. Okay? A lot of times we will have a feature in our program and we know how it works because we know the code. But the user doesn't know how it works because we did not give them instructions on what to do. So here's the user story. They've got to be able to open the application on a mobile device or website. They've got to be able to log in and create an account. Enter their student's email. Let Grammarly do that. Receive confirmation in email. Close the application. Okay? The administrator needs to open the application, log in, able to access the dashboard, which displays the absences, the times, and excuse, as well as sorted by time, interval, days, weeks, months, years, blah, blah, blah. Type of excuses. So you could go through and say, oh, how many people said, oh, they have got to stay home because they're quarantined. Right now, this would be a big deal to be able to do this. The attendance secretary. What can the attendance secretary do? Here's the things the attendance secretary could do. So this is part of your discussion while you're talking about what your project's going to do. So in the phases of software development, this would come right in the beginning, wouldn't it? This is when we would be putting this together, just after we had kind of brainstormed, decided on one main goal, one main idea. Then we would start to build this idea of what they could do based upon that idea. What's necessary to make this work? Obstacles. One of the things a lot of people do not do is stop and think about the obstacles, right? What's going to be really hard? What's going to be really easy? Let's do the easy things first. Let's do the hard things second. Or do we do the hard things first? A lot of times I like to do the hard things first. Let's figure out if that's right, okay? Okay, so obstacles. These things: connect the databases, make a simple but decent looking user interface, send the emails, and create a login feature. So that would be things that the team would say, I'm kind of fuzzy on. I'm not sure if I know how to do that. That would be an obstacle, okay? If everybody on the team says, hey, I'm not real sure how to do that, then we're going to have to do some research and some work to figure out how to do that. And so that would be something we would immediately look at these and go, okay, we need to assign somebody to go learn how to do this. We need to have somebody go learn how to do this to solve these problems. This one, maybe not as important. We can wait a little while to figure that out. Our toolbox, what do we have? We have Visual Studios, we have GitHub, we have Google Docs, we have Microsoft Server to handle our database problems. So here you can see, this just is a very simple, lays out this project, allows you to work on it and continue to grow the project. Could you add more things to the end of this? Sure. You could add timelines. You could add dates of when we're going to have the proof of concept done. What does a proof of concept need to be able to do to meet the minimum requirements? And you would have a checklist of those things. so that everybody on the team can go and look at it. Like I said, this is a living document, something that we can use throughout the entire building of this project. And this is kind of cool because you can just click on these and it'll take you to wherever. So that's kind of neat. Something to think about. So if we had a major project coming up where I asked you guys to brainstorm and come up with ideas, this would be something you would be thinking about. Okay, if I say, hey, you are a team lead, you're going to develop you want to develop a document just like this. I don't need to tell you to do that. You already know to do that. Okay, so something to think about, something to kind of think about. How would I do that? Do I have a copy of this document? Do you guys have a copy of this document? You do. It's on your Google Classroom. It was in the first week of information that I gave you. So not this one, it's another one, but you have one for a project and for a early bike jam project. Okay?